You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cutting the Curd on the Heritage Radio Network. I'm your host, Kara Warren, and today we're diving into a category that's crispy, creamy, and seriously craveable, baked cheese. I'm thrilled to welcome Josh Tazinski, co-founder of Big Moo Baked Cheese, a brand that's reimagining the way we think about snackable, ready-to-eat cheese. We'll hear about Big Moo's journey from idea to shelf, the art of baking, cheese to perfection, and what's next for the innovative dairy disruptor. Hey, Josh, how's it going? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing well, Carol. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Super stoked. I mean, I'm going to hit you with the first thing, which is what makes Big Moo different than any other baked cheese?
Well, I'd say what makes Big Moo different than any other baked cheese really is the standout branding. We wanted to be a disruptor in the category, a category that's traditionally, oranges and browns and blacks, just lacking of color. And that's really where we wanted to make our splash. And if you've seen our product on shelf, across the different flavors, we have vibrant colors throughout. And just being that different, eye-catching, approachable also in a sometimes stuffy category. That's really where we want to differentiate ourselves.
Yeah, so I think I just want to describe it for the listeners even a little bit more because it is like super cool. Like the font is even different. It's sort of like this bubbly, big, like black and white font with some color around it. And you're right. Usually baked cheese and this is another thing that I was thinking about, bread cheese. Like that was another thing. So you're making a clear distinction to call it baked cheese.
That's correct.
Is it, why go ahead and do that?
Well, early on, it was to, again, differentiate ourselves from any competition that was out there. Couple that with when we first launched, it was a big keto craze. And so anything with the word bread in it or any association to any type of carb was going to be killer. And so calling it baked cheese was certainly one way of getting away from a couple of those obstacles.
Oh, okay. So I see. So that's a really interesting and clever way to do that. And I guess then I want to just, if it's okay to call it, well, actually, I guess it's a preference. I've been thinking about it for this whole interview, if I should call it baked cheese or bread cheese, but I do want to at least understand a little bit the origin of this cheese style. Would you mind talking about that a little bit as well?
Yeah, so the cheese itself originated in Scandinavia. It's a Finnish cheese, and it was originally called Osto-Leipä, and it was traditionally made with a reindeer milk. Obviously, over here we're lacking of the reindeer or milkable reindeer, and we came up with our cow's milk version of the product. But the bread cheese really came from the fact that as it cooks up, as you bake this before packaging, it kind of creates this crust-like breading look and appearance to the cheese. And that's really where the whole bread cheese kind of came in. And it with the word Osto-Leipä, leipä meaning bread, that's kind of how it was all put together.
And do you think, I feel like being in the cheese scene, I've always felt it aligned to the Midwest and Midwest culture. Why do you think that is so much?
Well, I mean, I think, kind of getting back to, the whole Scandinavian thing, I think we have a lot of settlers landed here and stayed here. And that's a big reason why I think it is maybe as popular around here as opposed to elsewhere in the United States. And the fact that this is cheese country around here. I mean, there's no shortage of cheese, styles of cheese. And so the fact that this one is certainly consumed, adopted more so in the Midwest than other areas, it's everywhere you turn. So
that's great, Josh. I mean, I love that it does have such a strong presence in the Midwest, and I kind of makes me cozy for Wisconsin. Not gonna lie. I also want to ask you about the Big Moo name. How did you come up with the name of the company? Because it's such a cute, fun, very memorable name.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of just like any other naming exercise, you throw a bunch of things at the wall and see what's going to stick. And the Big Moo was one of the names that had made our list, and it all kind of started with a trip that a buddy of mine took to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and it was right before COVID, and a band was playing there called the Big Woo. They were a Minneapolis-based band, and I was like, well, this has to be something. The Big Moo actually showed up on our list. I'm listening to a band called the Big Woo. Let me report back to my partner and see, tell him my story and just say, this is why I would like it to be this. And Mike and I, we hemmed and hawed about it, and we ultimately agreed on it. It's a name that's very approachable for all ages. We wanted kids to be able to call out the product by name, see it on the store shelf, be able to actually read that label and tell mom and dad, this is a product that I want to try, or I see that one. So again, along with the colors, to be able to stand out, be able to call it out, and not feel like it's stuffy, overwhelming, etc. A type of product. That's what we were after. So.
And what led you to go for like bread cheese, baked cheese? Because I think the Big Moo could be to any sort of cheese that you love, but you obviously gravitated towards this. And so why this cheese for your company?
Yeah, so for us, the cheese came before the name. It was, around here in Madison, Wisconsin, we have one of the largest producer-only farmers markets in the country, and it was on a trip to one of those farmers market trips where I stumbled upon the cheese. Had been going to this market for years, with my parents, had taken my kids there, and I had never went to this particular corner because it was always so crowded. It's one of the most crowded corners at the Capitol, and it's just kind of unapproachable for that fact. Well, this day I decided to wait in the line, try what was behind the line, and I just fell in love. I couldn't believe there was a product like this sitting out there that I had never seen, never tried, and I instantly fell in love with it. And we had bought some blocks, brought it home, cooked it up for the kids, the family, some friends. And everybody kind of had the same reaction that I did. I was like, well, if this many people have never seen or tried this, there's something here. And I had approached my good friend Mike, had similar experience when he tried the cheese with his family and friends. And together we just knew that we had to get the word out on what this cheese was to the folks in the United States here.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just so easy to like baked cheese, bread cheese. I really like. Thank you for sending me samples of it to kind of try the different flavors. I mean, I'm a savory girl, so I loved the original. Garlic was also great. Bacon had a nice smokiness. Pizza obviously is a fun one. And then the other two flavors, cranberry and jalapeno, also good. Cranberry is definitely a breakfast treat, in my opinion. But there's just a lot of room to play there. Do you also eat the cheese like without cooking it? Because I found it really good also just as is. It's got this cool squeaky texture to it that's like almost like curd, like fresh curd like.
Sure. Yeah, certainly edible. Nothing's going to go wrong if you eat it cold. It's just when you heat it up, that's really what unlocks the flavors. If you were to have the two side by side, I think most would certainly prefer that the cheese is cooked and eaten that way. Plus, it's kind of fun, sitting around, whether it's a bonfire, whether it's the grill, and it's just a very easy product to use, to cook, to then consume. I don't know why you would eat it cold. I think it just tastes so good warm.
I think it was just me just being adventurous, trying to understand the cheese, but I did put it in a skillet and warmed it up. I think we should also talk about like how it's made. If you don't mind just running like a brief explanation of how bread cheese is made, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so bread cheese is made very similar to a lot of other styles of cheese, and the fact that it's starts out in the curd and it's pressed into a giant 40-pound block of cheese. That's how most of the cheese is made around here. And what really differentiates this from any other product is the fact that we do bake it before we package the product. Most other products you see on shelf, whether it's cheese, meats, etc., the end user has to do all the work, all the cooking and stuff like that. Whereas we do that at the factory. It's a step that allows us to have a much longer shelf life than some other similar products in this category. But yeah, that along with the manufacturing, it's the milk that we use. It's the ingredients that we use. We pay close attention to where the milk is coming from. Most of our milk is coming from within 75 miles of production, and ingredients, we pay close attention to ingredients. We try to buy all natural as often as we can, and just source some good meats for the bacon, and on and on. So
that's awesome, Josh. I was going to ask you about that too, like what the milk source was, and if it was whole milk or, because it seems like the bread cheese is just so flavorful and so good. Thank you for giving me that background on that. That's and for the listeners, because that's what makes a difference in that kind of quality of the cheese.
Yeah. So you were touching base on the milk itself, and cheese is all about the milk. You have to have a high quality milk, which we do. It is a full fat milk, hormone free quality milk, and that's what gives it its rich buttery flavor. It's all a local Wisconsin milk, like I said, within 75 miles of production. And yeah, it's happy cows make for the best milk and the best cheese.
Amen to that. I mean, this is just such an easy thing to eat. I'm still thinking about like all the different ways I was able to cook it up in my kitchen. I mean, do you have like a standout pairing that you really enjoy?
I mean, I think this cheese is best paired with people. It is such an inviting cheese. It's an icebreaker if you're hosting with guests. Again, kids, adults, everyone likes it. How I like it the best is cutting into little cubes and replacing the marshmallow on the stick with some cheese and just cooking it over a bonfire. Eat it on its own, maybe dip it into like a fresh raspberry jam, something like that. But that's how I like to go about it. Once in a while we'll go a little bit further and we'll do like cheese tacos at the house. So we'll, have like a garlic cheese with some avocado slaw, and it's just a fantastic, easy meal, with our busy lifestyles.
Yeah, I got to try that. The campfire technique. I haven't done that yet. And that sounds really, really cool. I definitely want to do that this summer, actually. That's a to-do this summer. Listen, Josh, we're just going to take a quick break for the listeners. Hey, everyone, you're listening to Cutting the Curd. I'm here with Josh of The Big Moo, and we'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Plugra European-style butter, crafted for those who demand precision and exceptional results in the kitchen. With 82% butter fat and a slow churn process, Plugra gives you flakier crusts, fluffier cakes, and rich, melt-in-your-mouth pastries. Because great baking starts with great butter. Unlike standard American butters, which have only 80% butter fat, Plugra ensures the ideal moisture and fat balance so your recipes turn out just right every time. That's why professional chefs trust Plugra and home bakers love it. Plugra's slow churn process creates a smooth, creamy butter that gives dough a soft, pliable texture, making rolling, folding, and laminating effortless. Whether you're perfecting a buttery pie crust or layering a delicate croissant, Plugra helps you bake with confidence. Experience the difference for yourself. Find Plugra in stores near you or visit Plugra.com. That's Plugra.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Cutting the Curd. I'm your host, Kara Warren. I'm here with Josh of The Big Moo. We're talking about bread cheese, baked cheese, all things to do for summer. You better crisp up that bread cheese in the skillet or on a stick. We're going to have the best time ever enjoying it. The next thing I want to talk about with you, Josh, is just exactly which is the best-selling version of The Big Moo, because, again, there's several flavors. For me, I love the original, but, what do the statistics say? What does the data say? What's the best-selling bread cheese?
Well, yeah, certainly having a bunch of different flavors that are available to, whatever palate, whatever recipe you're creating, that's been fun for us. Last fall, we launched a flavor called cranberry, which we thought was going to be kind of seasonal for some retailers, but most of them ended up picking it up full time. And so that's been a fun flavor to see grow. So we'll see what happens with that here in 25. But overall, the most popular flavor is probably garlic. That recently overtook original on store shelves. And I just think everyone loves garlic, and it can just go with just about any recipe. And much like I keep saying, anywhere from kids to adults, like everyone likes the garlic, it seems. My personal favorite, I really love the bacon. Dipping that bacon in some raspberry jam or a syrup, it's just fantastic.
Oh, that sounds really good. Another thing I wanted to ask you about is there any fun or surprising customer reactions that you've gotten from people when they try it for the first time? Because I think in general, people don't, maybe in the Midwest, a lot more people know bread cheese or baked cheese. But first timers, what's the first impression that you see from a lot of people?
It's always fun just watching their faces. The first time that they try this product, you can just see their brain clicking around. What can I do with this? Who can I show this to? It's something that they want to brag about. I found it first. You've never seen it. Now try it. It's just fun, and talking through what their thought process is on that recipe that they want to make with it. That's been really fun and enjoyable. As far as innovative, it still surprises me the amount of people that replace the burger for a block of bread cheese on their bun. It was something that we never thought would ever happen, but we get more and more pictures and emails with stuff like that. It's wild.
Oh, that's really cool. I never thought about replacing a burger with the bread cheese. I'll have to try that as well. That sounds excellent, actually. And what a way to go vegetarian. Also funny, you can always point out that it's gluten-free. I bet I was talking to Jessica, the other co-host, and she was like, oh yeah, they should put gluten-free on their packaging. And I was like, that's funny for bread cheese. Do you ever have fun with that as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something that we've talked about. If we ever to do a label, is including something like that on the packaging. I think that's a great idea. Another reason we wanted to get away from the whole bread cheese name in lieu of going with baked cheese. Right,
because it is kind of partially confusing if you're not a cheesemonger. You would just expect something else, and here it is. It's this delicious baked cheese product. I wanted to ask you, what's been the most surprising part of growing the Big Moo? Has anything unexpected come up along the way?
I would say on the business side of things, specifically sales, was the amount of folks that said, yes, we will take your product on. We will put it on a store shelf. We will make room, create room for you guys. That's been the biggest surprise. My partner, Mike, and I are relatively new to this industry, and we didn't know what that response was going to be when we were out asking retailers for some of their shelf space. And so the fact that so many, meeting one, said, yes, we'd like to bring you on, I think that's the most unexpected thing that we run into.
Well, I would say with the packaging and the easy snackability of this cheese, it's a home run. So I'm so glad that other retailers are seeing it the same way. That's really exciting. What do you think's next for Big Moo? Are there any new exciting flavors or products in the work besides what you have right now?
Yeah, there are. There are definitely some things that we can certainly share at a later date that we are working on. Innovation is always something that we are thinking of. So whether it's products and flavors, we are hard at work with those. Initially, it was just making sure that we had a great product that we could stand behind, make sure we got our marketing out so people knew that we were available, make sure we had the distribution so they could buy with ease, and not just on e-commerce. They could actually go to their retailer, and so that was the primary focus while we were growing. But now that we have becoming a little bit more established, focusing on that innovation is a big part of 25.
Awesome. And just for the listeners out there who are interested in finding the Big Moo, it's sold all over the U.S. Is that correct? Is there any special way to get the Big Moo?
Well, you can always buy online. We can ship it directly to your door within a couple days. But yeah, we have about 6,000 retailers that we work with. You can always go to our site. We have a store locator tab on our site, and so you can find what that close and convenient retailer is to your location.
One thing I also was really surprised at when I got the samples was how well, and this is more of a cheese industry thing to note, but like the way the case looked and how tight and compact it was really cool, because it's just like these like little, I don't want to say bricks, but like little, how would you describe it best? It was really cool. I was like, this is such a fun and easy way to sell cheese. Like super cool.
As simple as that e-commerce packaging looks, there was a lot of work that went into that, making sure that we fit in a certain class to be able to ship it at an affordable rate. Just the efficiencies that we needed to keeping that cheese as cold as we need to. We want that package arriving to the doorstep in a cool manner, not warm. And there was a lot of work that went into that. We elected to not go with a standard styrofoam packaging for insulation. We wanted something that can actually degrade relatively quickly. And there was a lot of work going into that. So I'm happy to hear that it's getting received well. And the box, we get a lot of comments on the box too. Kids, adults, everyone thinks it's kind of fun. So
yeah, the graphics were really great. I think it really helps the product stand out so well. I think do you have a marketing background that like helped you realize this, or that's what you wanted for your own product?
I did have a marketing background, marketing and advertising background after graduating college, but we did not do this alone. We definitely had a team that helped us come up with the look and feel. Mike and I did a fairly good job of conveying the messaging that we wanted, but we did need some creatives and such to bring it to life. And that was a fun process, certainly was. And I look forward to doing it more. That's for sure.
Awesome. Well, I know here in Cutting the Curd, we can't wait to see what else the Big Moo comes out with. Josh, I just want to say thanks for coming on the show today. This was awesome.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me again. And once we get that innovation and some new flavors, we'll be seeing you guys again.
Yeah, sounds good. Awesome. Well, I'm just going to give a quick shout out to the listeners to tell them where they can find you. Just want to say thanks. And you can follow the Big Moo at the Big Moo Cheese on Instagram. Plus, you can follow us at Cutting the Curd and Heritage Radio at heritage_radio. And please subscribe to Cutting the Curd wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks, and eat more cheese.
Cutting the Curd is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.